What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys notice this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to MSOTD Rocks, Rock and Metal Thrive. Hey guys, we are ending November with one hell of a podcast and going to the last month of 2021 on fire. Literally, we're going to go deep into the metaverse in this episode. But before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors. First, Phoenix Fitness. You guys know I cannot stop going to concerts. You guys know I'm in the mosh pit all day, every single time. I am not stopping for the life of me. It is just something that I love to do. But in order to be able to make sure I'm constantly in those mosh pits and constantly able to go back every single time, every concert I go to, and not jump out even once, I got to make sure that my fitness is right, my strength is right, my energy is right. I got to make sure I'm in the gym constantly, working out, do as much cardio as I can, weightlifting, so that I can do everything I want to do. But I got to be able to, prepare right, recover right. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in with different pre-workouts, workouts, both stim and stim-free. I use the stim-free stuff for times because, well, I'm already energized and crazy enough as it is. They also have different B-stability recovery compounds for your post-workout, creatines, proteins for the morning, the night, and for after your workout, along with multivitamins and anything you might need to help achieve your fitness goals. Phoenix Fitness has it for you. Our listeners and viewers on YouTube get 15% off using the code MSOTD at checkout fnxfit.com, link description below. Now I also want to thank our other sponsor, Custom Debuts. What they do is they create these cool posters, anything you need in the rock, metal, honestly, anything in the music scene that you want, they can create for you in terms of, you give them a concept, whether it's an album from a certain band or it's a song from a certain band. What they can do is they can take the album and put on a poster just for you, have the track list on there and create it any way you want. Same thing with, like a vinyl that has the lyrics in there of a certain song you like, or more dynamic style as well. Plus, you submit what you want to them, album, band, song, whatever it is, and they'll come back to you in 48 hours with a proof of potentially what you could have, and you can make revisions to it as much as possible. And once you're satisfied, once you like what they're going to make for you, that's where the custom part comes in. That is when they will send it to you, and you can get either like museum grade paper, like you get a lot of posters, or canvas, or even aluminum. So do it for the holidays, guys, for the music lover in them. Our listeners get 10% off using the code CPP10 at checkout, link description below. So thank Custom Debuts. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because back in January of 2021, we had Angel and Sean from the band Devil's Envy on the Chord Progression Podcast. It was fun, and we're going to kind of close more of the year out with them as well because a lot has changed for them. They've gone mostly full independent at this point, so we get to talk to Angel about that, we can talk to Sean about that, along with other band members, Paul and Brian, along with Janelle, who does a lot of their press stuff now. We could talk a lot about the choice to go independent, what they're coming up with, new releases, new music, their shows, and I think the biggest thing out there, guys, how they are going to incorporate NFTs into everything they do. You're going to want to check this one out. You're not going to want to miss out on it. So enjoy the podcast. Very insightful for all of you to listen to. Plus, you're going to want to jump in on this NFT thing. So enough with me introducing this with Devil's Envy. Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, at the absolute beginning of 2021, I got to sit down with this band, Devil's Envy, and we talked about a lot of incredible stuff, really going over the music scene and what they were doing, especially in the middle of the pandemic. Now that we're at the end of the year, the pandemic seems to have ceased. This band has gone through a lot of changes over the course of, let's say, 11 months. So let's talk about what they're doing and catch up with them. So please welcome the guys from Devil's Envy back to the podcast. So guys, welcome back to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Hey.
Thank you.
Glad to have you all on. And I know you've gone through a lot of different changes from when I last talked to you to when I talk to you now. So I got to ask, what are all these big changes that you guys went through?
Well, thank you for having us. First and foremost, it's awesome to be back. I know last time we chatted earlier this year with Sean and I, we were going over some big plans that we had moving forward, which we still do. So we announced earlier this year we were assigned to a subsidiary of Universal, which is Dark Kingdom. And then we kind of had a trial run with that single that we dropped under them. What is the cover of the Billie Eilish cover, You Should See Me in a Crown. And we gave it, the old bad boy try and, give our best foot forward. But things didn't really work out to, how we initially planned and thought, we wanted, of what we wanted it to do. And so instead of dragging it out and trying to see like, okay, let's see how it's going to do with the other songs, we just decided then and there, like, let's just move forward. Let's call it what it is, and go our separate ways. And it was that. And then, same thing with, we kind of partnered up with MVK as our management team, and same thing. We gave it a full year, and you know, as a team, we're very particular on like how we want our business, managed and how to run things, and so things didn't work out there either. And so, we had a lot of time and consideration as far as like, oh, well, what are we doing with these shows, or what are we doing with as far as like, like content, all that stuff. And a lot of the creativity falls on the band, but then there was there was no real like uh outside guidance as far as like, this is what should be done, and here's what we're going to do, and all these plans set forth. And none of that was happening, so we kind of just put our heads together and we're like, look guys, we're going to end up doing a lot of this work anyway, so let's just go ahead and cut out the middleman altogether, and let's just move forward and see how we do best. um, Being that I already am, pretty well established in my career field, and with tour management and managing other bands that are, dealing with all their logistics and everything on tour. So I already know like what's going to go into it and what's needed, and how much you know uh financial investments are going to be needed so far as like push content and everything. And so we're over here just doing a lot of the legwork anyway. So we decided like, why not? Let's just go ahead um, and keep the business a little more tight knit. And then of course we started talking with Chanel, who's here with us, who's also, she runs her PR company, but also it's just a matter of having that core belief in what we're doing, as not only like as partners but as a band musically. It caught her attention first, and then afterwards like she saw that potential, and that's what we were needing. That's what we were wanting to work with, as far as like, we could self-manage this. Now we just partner up with people that have an expertise in doing other stuff that we're not used to. And we figured, okay, this is probably going to work much better in the long run, as far as, where we're going, uh, as far, looking forward ahead into the future as far as the band goes.
So the whole entire decision to really stick in and go, more full independent wasn't anything where, when it came to the management team you work with and the label you're working with, where there's really any bad blood. It was just more or less you guys figured out how much work was being put into it from your end, how much work was being put in from their end, and figured out that if you guys kept it within yourselves, it wouldn't be that much work, and you guys could run this as a business the way that you wanted to run it collectively as a band.
Right. Yeah. And then, and it's all like, it was also like, looking at how they would see it, basically being a little more empathetic to where maybe we feel like we're wasting their time, and vice versa. The thought has come up on our end. So we didn't want any of those thoughts to just keep coming up. And so we figured like, hey man, like this is what we're gonna want to do. And it's not really working out. It was the same thing. We parted ways on somewhat good terms with the label, and then and better terms with management, and that was it. And so ever since then, the creative sparks just started coming up. Just like, look, at this is what we can do. This is what we're gonna do. We locked in this show and made it something a little more special than a regular, local show. We wanted to give something special back to, the fans that have been waiting for us to play live for the last 2 years. And now we're diving into like new formats of like how we can release music. So it's all been for the better.
And with the ability to, like, especially playing these live shows the way you want to play them and diving into this brand new format you're talking about, doing that independently seems like a much smarter move, because now you have all the power to do what you want to do. You don't have to go through a couple other different people. You don't have to, work everything out. It's, you want to make that decision. You want to be a quick mover in the space that you want to be in. Boom. It's going to be easy, quick. You just got to work within the band and just go from there.
Yeah, that's correct, man. That's pretty much hitting the nail on the head with us. A lot of the creative force comes from us, and we're very open minded with a lot that comes our way. But at the same time, we're also not, we're not young kids with big hopes and dreams of, we always have our hopes and dreams, but we're not naive kids where we're like needing to follow the old school method of how bands were catered to and ran, like maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like, it's not the same. It's never going to be the same again. And I think that's where the industry is kind of laying low right now, as far as like even getting back into touring and doing shows. It's never going to be the same again. There are some other genres and other artists in different genres that are like jumping ahead, and we're still trying to catch that wave that's no longer there. So we're trying to be a little more innovative, when it comes to that, especially with the live shows, when it comes to our live production and everything.
Interesting. So I kind of want to ask some of the other guys, well, like Sean, Paul, and Brian. So with this choice to end up going full independent, working within this, when this came up, how did you guys feel about this? And going forward, how do you see this working within the band, along with all of you guys working together, along with having Chanel there as well? So just kind of, how is this all working together as a band from your guys' perspective?
Yeah, I think like with regard to the whole DK and DKR thing, Dark Kingdom and Jesse and Brian and NBK, all that crew, they're all great people. I mean, so it's almost like kind of being like in a relationship, right? So meet someone and be in a relationship with them, and they're a great person individually, but maybe it's not fit for you, right? Really nothing, against any of those other teams. They're all amazing, very talented, very creative teams, but it might not be the right fit for this band. So I think like what Amy said, with regard to both those parted ways amicably, I mean, all great, but it's about what can we do for ourselves. And I think the interesting thing about where we're at now, and really as a society, is like everything is so different. The last year and a half obviously been a huge a music industry standpoint because of the virus, but at the same time, it's also like opened a lot of doors, a lot of new avenues, and a lot of new ways to pursue. So like when Angel's talking about the NFTs, and it's really all about just being creative as a band and figuring out how the band can actually kind of like carve its own path. We're all kind of in uncharted territory when it comes to everything is playing out. I mean, you got metaverse, and this. I mean, society is changing completely. So, like, I think it's a great opportunity for us as a band. Say, like Angel mentioned earlier, like that model, maybe that doesn't fit for us right now. Maybe a chance for us to do something completely different and kind of go our own road, right? Carve our own path. So that's kind of my take on it.
Gotcha. What about you, Sean? What about you, Paul? What are you guys' take on this, especially going independent, and how you guys feel about now being, when it comes to the band and everything that comes around with it, from live shows, business decisions, creative decisions, no matter what, it's all on you guys.
I'm happy with it because, I mean, this whole thing started with Angel and I in the first place, just wanting to do something that obviously we want to be successful in, but we wanted to do something that made us happy again. We were both in a band that we loved playing in, but the social dynamic, just people were in bad spots, and it started becoming more of a job than what music is supposed to be, which is supposed to be fun and expression. And so I wanted to express a lot of what I've gone through in music, and Angel had already had this huge library of things that he's written since he was back in the Army and whatever he was doing beforehand, before we all met up. So I think it ended up working out good. it's like Brian was saying, it's sometimes just partnerships don't work, and for me, it felt like too many cooks in the kitchen. And now it's, we were on certain like timelines, and I can't stand that stuff because we wanted to get things out, especially during the pandemic when couldn't play. The bands that were playing, you had to be booking this stuff way, way early. Otherwise, everything's getting booked. So you don't have a chance of getting any traction. So we needed to be putting out content, and we just couldn't put out as much content as we wanted because we were on certain release timelines. So once we got rid of that, I think it just works better, especially creatively, because from what I gathered, and Paul will probably tell you about this too, it started to feel very much like a show up, do your job type thing. And I think we were losing the passion for it. And as soon as that went away, we're back in the studio again. We're writing stuff. We're having fun. We're allowed to be where we were. And I think our independent timeline is actually really good, and we're able to sit down and really do what we want and when we want to do it.
It's like you're able to stay loosey goosey through the whole entire thing and not have to be such on a rigid time scale. So especially for the creative process, you're able to let that just flow and just not have any issue on top of it.
Yeah, you don't have to go through 3 different channels to put a song out, or put out a certain photo shoot, or we took a photo shoot and this wasn't what we were thinking. Okay, well then now you got to go back through the same channels and figure out what people want you to look like. It's like you get lost in and I get it. It's a business. These things have to be taken care of, but you get lost in all of this minutia where all the important shit gets buried. So I think once we got rid of that and realized, let's just split from these connections amicably, which we did. We were able to kind of focus in on what exactly we wanted to do and when we wanted to do it. And that's where these shows came about. And, we've got a lot of stuff lined up for next year that we can't tell anybody about yet, but I'm more excited for this band than I have been in a very long time.
So it's kind of like going independent really reinvigorated that path for the band. Now I want to jump to Paul on this one specifically. So Paul, when it comes to just the whole entire being independent, especially the creative process for this, I think Sean kind of alluded to that for you. What does it feel like, being on the creative process with this when it comes to not having that timeline is allowing you guys to really just flow through everything and create potentially like some of the most exciting and best music you guys have come out with?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we one good thing, some silver linings that came out of the pandemic over the past 2 years almost. I mean, listen, we haven't been on stage together since what was it, September, guys? October of 2019, right? We got done. We had some of the best shows that we've ever had, and we were really, I mean, we had the momentum, and we were all extremely happy and excited, and man, we were all very pleased with the progress we had made. And when everything came to a screeching halt, of course, we had some things that were going on. Personally, all of us had stuff going on personally because we're in a pandemic and some of us couldn't work. Some of us were laid off or furloughed. Others were, scared of their own shadow. I mean, it was just fucking ridiculous. And, overall, we finally came together, after probably the first few months of getting adjusted to this, this new way of, as Brian was saying earlier, society or whatever. We actually created some really good music, and I was really proud of the fact that how we all collaborated. Because typically in the past, it's Brian and I joined Devil's City between 3 and 4 years ago. I think I've been a part of the band now for about 4 years. Brian joined about 3 years ago, and then of course we were picking up the momentum. We got crushed, like every artist did, like many people did. I'm not complaining. I'm just basically pointing out what's transpired. And one of the great things is that we've got Angel, who's a phenomenal, not only a writer, but also engineer. So we have our own studio. So what is preventing us from getting in there and laying down tracks, ideas, and then really expanding on them? And we did just that. And the stuff that I'm really happy about, you will hear it soon. I hope very soon. And I think we've got a release scheduled for what, December range? Can't hear you.
Disable it.
There we go. Yeah, so nothing's really like set in stone as far as like releases, but yeah, we do have something pretty cool coming soon, especially for this time around, to kind of just get a lot of eyes on our shows that we're doing, especially in Florida. But yeah, we have a few releases that we're lining up to, and that brings us back on topic with NFTs and how they're going to basically change how we've been so used to doing and planning releases.
So I got to ask you about this changes with how you guys are going to be doing these releases, specifically from the NFT space. As many people know, NFTs are becoming a gigantic player when it comes to anything in regards to art, anything on social media. If you guys are following along with Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary Vee, like that's what he is big on. And that guy, it seems like he's always in the forefront of big things that are happening. So he's been talking about them for like almost a year at this point. So if you guys are getting in on it now, that is an important thing. So what are these releases going to look like, and how are you going to be working with these as NFTs specifically?
So how we plan to work with the NFTs is simply that right now. I have been looking into it for like the better part of 3 months now, and just looking into like how we can implement that now on our releases. Although yeah, we are fairly a newish band with very little traction, but even with NFTs that are in our palms, like we can use this now to a benefit to where the fans are going to attach the value to it. The more of them we make, or the less one we make, more exclusivity. Basically giving back to those who have either subscribed to us, the long time fans that have been with us since the very beginning. We're going to be like creating a subset of tokens, which will basically we can add different traits to them, or different tiers will have different traits, whether it be a meet and greet or access to every show that we ever put on, whether we're a support act or a headlining act. The world is our oyster with this. I've been talking to Sean a lot about this, and how I've become somewhat of a passion freak about it now, because it's like, man, think of all the upfront costs a band would have to come up with just for merch alone, and we're also dealing with that too. Even for shows, or even if you have to book out a tour, even planning for next year, we have some stuff kind of planned out. All the upfront costs is going to cost the business owner to get stuff printed, but now with NFTs, like you're doing away with a lot of that, and now you're giving fans an opportunity to either invest in their own cryptocurrency and look into diving into the metaverse, as not only just for crypto, but now for artwork and music, where it gives the fans a part ownership of a digital copy, an official authentication that they own that license now, and those traits, they can use that to their benefit, whether it's like, okay, now with this token, I could get, all access to every show, to, every Devil's Envy show, or even just general admission. I could bring up a friend, and all it's going to take is just signing up and subscribing and just keeping on top of like what we're doing, being that we're not so much a content heavy band, but because there's no budget to do a sick video that looks like a movie every time we have a song to come out, so now we're giving our listeners and our fans like something else to look forward to, other than like, oh yeah, this is your typical music video or something over the top or something crazy. With the NFTs, it's going to allow us to gather those fans as now co-investors to where now they're holding value over something. And if they truly believe in it, it could take off from there. Because if we release a single through NFT first, potentially that could drive the whole streaming revenue at a different level, because now they have part ownership of it. And then once we're ready to drop it, they'll be the first to know before it even drops. And then they're engaging and listening, and they want to see that song climb charts. So they want to see it. So them being part owners of it, now it gives them the chance to have a driving foot and in the back of the train here as far as the band goes.
I think the most important thing you said in that with the whole entire NFT thing is it gives people more of this investment into the band and into the music itself. Because if I end up getting one of your songs like an NFT, then as it climbs the charts, like I'm going to want it to keep climbing the charts, because that's going to mean more for not only for you guys, but for myself as well.
Right.
And as it continues on, I'm going to want that to keep going and going and going as an investment. And it just adds more to it, to the point where as a fan, like as your singles are coming out, I'm going to be trying to help promote it as well, kind of free promotion, because I have investment in there. And if the better it does, hey, better off I am. And it's an incredible thing too when it comes to NFTs, specifically because right now we're in the absolute early stages of it. There are bands that are thinking about trying it. There are some bands that are trying it already, but there are very few. And this thing is only going to continue to grow. And as it grows and as it becomes more popular, there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of bands are going to be trying to just grasp at it, because now it's like, okay, now it's big. Now we got to grasp onto it. But you guys already be in that space. You guys already have worked within that space and have first mover ability to kind of change direction wherever it's going to go. You have, especially as an independent band, you have the ability to make those changes as the NFT market changes.
Right. And I think like by the time, our listeners are watching this, we'll probably already have a couple that we're going to, host a sweepstakes where we encourage our fans that already signed up to either get their friends to sign up, and we'll randomly choose a couple of people to get these free tokens first. And then afterwards, secondary market drops. You're already going to have a few owners on it where they didn't have to do anything but sign up, and then push it from then on. Like once the song's ready to drop, and then who's to say for next year that could be, our breaking point, finally, to get off the ground from where we're at.
Well, I feel like I'm going to have to, put some kind of investment in this. So when that initial thing drops, and if the first people just have to like sign up to get something, make sure I do that. So I have part ownership in that. I do want to jump to Chanel though on this one. So when it comes to this whole entire idea with NFTs for Devil's Envy and really getting it out into the space, especially on social media, to really show people that this is a thing and that they can be a part of this, to help get them a part of this, what's the plan and strategy for that when it comes to marketing these as NFTs?
Well, honestly, there's a lot of avenues to go with. And it's really about tackling the most important areas that are going to relate to that and that type of audience. Truthfully, that really boils down to, kind of point blank media relations and also, community relations. Obviously, we want to make sure that if you're local, this is implying more so to you. However, if you're not local, this is still an opportunity for you to enter our sweepstakes, or still you're going to, retain something from this actual, marketing strategy. So with that being said, we're trying a lot of avenues, and I speak more so on myself in the aspect of the PR world. There's really a lot that goes into it, from media relations to community relations, internal relations. So breaking that down, that really goes into how we want to focus our media relations for our locals, for anything in the Orlando, Central Florida area, and really getting that out in the social media worlds, i.e. Instagram, Facebook, and really getting these guys set up for kind of face-to-face interviews where it could be marketed more so in magazines and digitally. So not only will we be, kind of the face of the digital world, but we'll also be kind of in a plain sight of being marketed, physically as well. As Angel had said kind of in the beginning, it really goes down to the roots of how bands used to promote, 10 plus years ago. I mean, it really does speak for itself in terms of kind of putting that hard work in towards that and really, being the face of the company. So I have taken kind of the areas and the assistance from my certain types of press releases that I've been able to kind of come across with other performances, other bands, and really utilizing that in a way that I think would help target more so the audience that they're looking for. And that really comes down to, again, the media for something where it's digitally marketed. Now, in terms of, our sweepstakes and stuff, that's definitely something that we're really trying to do differently, as opposed to just kind of going, the route of your typical ticket giveaway and meet and greet and things of that sort. We're really trying to get the band engaged with the fan base, so that way they feel they're getting a more personal one-on-one relationship and really getting a chance to evolve and grow with the band. As you guys have been saying, this is something that you're going to want to invest in. So you're going to want to see progression in the band. With that said, you're going to want to have continuous contests, and you're going to want to have that drive to have that, that base to really want to follow and stick with investing for the band in a long-term aspect. I have some production crews behind me right now that are working with a company called Fly Machine. And ever since the pandemic, they really started off in 2020, and they're just taken off with the social media aspect. They're actually through Ticketfly and TicketWeb, and right now they're connected through numerous multimillionaire venues. For example, one of them is Red Rocks in Colorado. So that is something that I'm looking into, and getting our team and our aspect of our shows recorded in a digital world. So that way, if the audience can't join in, physically, they're still worried about COVID, whatever the case may be in that aspect, they still feel like they're a part of the concert, like they're getting a front row seat ticket to the show. So we're really trying to, engage in our media and our online viewers, so that way everyone knows that if you're not able to make it, look, we are going the other route to make sure that everyone feels that they have an opportunity to, really dive into these concerts, especially if they're going to invest. They would like to obviously see, these new releases being performed, how the performances are going, and truly feeling like they're there as part of the concert, themselves.
I think the best thing that you said through the whole entire thing was just not just what you said, but it was just the fact that when it comes to the whole entire idea with the NFT space, with it being relatively new, there's not a lot of, history to go off of in terms of what to do exactly, what's going to work, because again, it's more of a brand new thing. It's a young thing. But the key is the fact that you guys are not going into this with the NFT space half-assed at all. There is a lot of ideas in place, and it's not just, ideas that could potentially work. It's ideas that you guys are continually working on, so that when you guys already start dropping these NFTs, you know what you want to do with them, you know where you want to go with them, and you know what potentially could work, what might not work, but you already have the work in place to be able to pivot and really respond to what the listeners are going to be going for, what people that are going to be investing in NFTs are going to be going for, essentially what the market's going to be going for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all here for each other in terms of, believing in the team and really making the band a successful, group. But at the end of the day, a band is nothing without their fans. So you really have to have that support behind you. And we feel that, especially with, the pandemic and everything like that, so many bands and artists have tried to go different avenues in expressing their music and getting that out there without having to actually physically do it for a live show. So we've really kind of taken advantage of that and kind of, I would say, times two'd it, if you will, and are really trying to build not just one idea, but kind of create a webbing of it. So that way it's just kind of sparking from left to right. At the end of the day, all right, we have this contest for this show that we're running, and then we have this sweepstakes that we're running, for a whole separate kind of entity. So there's always something for someone at the end of the day. And like I said, it really drives in that audience and that traffic that we, at the end of the day, really do need. The band is nothing without their fans and that support. So it really comes down to making sure that we're paying attention to also benefiting for ourselves, but also making sure that our fans are benefiting from the band and not just the sound, that they're getting what they would like to see, what they would like to hear. And, truly understanding that from that aspect of being a fan, and as opposed to doing it for yourself, for the band, and for your own, your own personal decision.
Exactly. Well put in terms of, really making sure that you guys understand this fully. Now I want to jump into these live shows because I know you guys are playing live shows. What it looks like December 11th at the Soundbar in Orlando and December 12th at the Pegasus Lounge in Tampa. So when it comes to these new shows you guys will be playing in December, what can we expect when it comes to these brand new shows? Not only that, but with this whole entire idea of NFTs, how is this all going to play in for these two shows in 2021 before we jump into like 2022 and you guys are going to hit the ground running?
Well, we're super excited to play. I'll tell you that. We've been rehearsing. We're starting, we're rehearsing again tomorrow night. We're rehearsing a lot lately. We're also really excited because we've been playing some new material at both of these shows for the first time live. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I think the most important thing is that we are looking forward to freaking killing it. And I think we're going to do so. Our rehearsals have been nothing shy of fucking awesome. And I'll tell you what, that's what gets me going. I mean, the business side of this is really interesting. Angel has really, spearheaded that. He's got a lot of experience on that side of the business. I'm kind of learning as you go. It's actually a lot more complicated than I ever thought it would be. So I'm enjoying learning a lot about it, but I really get my rocks off when we're creating, and we're rehearsing. I couldn't care less if I'm in front of 3,000 people or it's just us four idiots, in a rehearsal space. I love it all. And, it's sort of like I always tell people, they're like, well, why do you play bass? I'm like, well, first of all, fuckers, the reason why I play bass is because I've been a business guy since I was very little, and I was saving up my school lunch, right? My $1.25 that my mom would give me for the pizza every day, and made me pay back at the end of the week by mowing the lawn, taking the garbage out, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't eat lunch for like 7 months, right? Through the whole entire school year. Maybe it was 9. I don't know. I'm big and dumb. And I was really skinny too. The reason why, because I didn't eat lunch. I was saving my money, mowing lawns, freaking washing cars in the winter, whatever I could. At 13, 14 years old. And all my friends were like, what are you going to do? You're going to buy a guitar? You're going to buy drums? I'm like, fuck that. They're like, why? I said, because those are the sexy things to play. All you fuckers sing, play drums, and play guitar. Supply and demand, baby.
That might be the best explanation I've ever heard for playing bass. And that is one hell of a story, especially for someone that age, when it comes to saving money for a long-term goal. Because when you're younger, 7-8 months feels like forever. But when you get to like the ages that we were at, like 7-8 months, it's like, yeah, that's not going to be too long from now.
Luckily, I was a little guy back then, so I didn't have like a lot of body mass that I had to like really eat much for, so I went without. I did a lot of other things too. Not eating pizza for 7 or 8 months, which is fucking torture in itself. I got my first bass and I started jamming out, learning Metallica and Rush, big, I'm a huge Rush fan, and Iron Maiden, and me and Brian, sorry, that's my boy's name for him. He's like my brother. All these guys are, so I have my nicknames for him. I'll try to keep him out of this. We'll still tool around with some Iron Maiden and such. I can't wait. I'm going to be at Rockville on Sunday to see Metallica. One of the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life. When I see Metallica, that inspires me all over again, because this band is actually very much influenced by more of my heroes, because I'm fucking old. And, earlier Angel was talking about we're not a really young band. Fuck you, Angel and Sean. You guys are young as shit. I'm fucking old. Brykai is right on my heels right now, but we're still young at heart. And a lot of the stuff that a lot of our influences as we were maturing as both humans and musicians was heavily influenced from bands that got it all started. Megadeth, Metallica, fucking Rush, Man, there's so many of them out. I mean, dude, I'm even a Striper fan, believe it or not. You know what I mean? So I drug Shawnee and Brykai along with me to a Striper show pre-pandemic. You know, I made them come, and I'm out there, man, horns the whole bit. Throw me a Bible, you know. And I didn't catch a Bible, which is probably why I'm cursed. But next time I'm going to catch a Bible. Anyway, no, man, I like I said, I digress. I'm all over the fucking place, but we are super excited to play our new material, and I think that a lot of our listeners will agree that you're going to hear influence from. We're going to hear influence. Sorry, I'm hearing some distortion or something.
Yeah, I think it's coming from Sean's whatever he's recording on, because I had to mute it a little bit because otherwise, like, the distortion gets pretty nasty.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. I thought maybe Sean's mom was in the room. Anyway, we're excited because we're going to have we have a lot of influence of of the older school hard rock and metal bands. And I think you'll hear that in even the newer material, because both Brian and I had some influence with helping we all collaborate, like I said earlier. And the newer material is definitely Devil's Envy. Don't get me wrong. It's just evolved a little bit to have a bit of a different sound. So I'm really excited about our set list, because you're going to have, you know, old Devil's Envy, and you're going to have new Devil's Envy, and we're going to mix and match it, and it's going to be really cool. I think it's very dynamic, and that's what really excites me. Instead of, you know, the same BPMs or, you know, or the whole time, we have a really good dynamic now. We have an opportunity to fucking, you know, to really give ourselves heart attacks, and in our audience heart attacks. Then we have an opportunity, you know, for them to really be like, oh wow, this is like, there's breathing room, and there's like this is a pretty part, and, you know, it's a soulful part here, and there's just so much, I think, that we're so much looking forward to sharing.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed in myself because I will not be able to get down to Florida for one of those shows due to money reasons, and also I'm going to like 2 concerts in Chicago that weekend, one of them being my favorite band. So sorry about that, guys. I would love to be there and go and absolutely, you know, see the old Devil's Envy and the new Devil's Envy songs come together and just, you know, basically go crazy in the crowd, because that's kind of what I do at this point.
Yeah, man.
We got it.
Who's your favorite band?
Rise Against.
Yep.
Who?
Rise Against.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah, I love that band. Yeah, so that's, you know, as far as the live shows, we're really excited because, you know, like Paul said, we're working on like performing a lot of the newer stuff that we haven't been able to perform live at all, and getting ready to, you know, thinking about like either releasing these or just like, let's just go ahead and perform them, and then once you know, our audience gets the vibe of it, you know, we can kind of push from there. But even still, it's not all that different, but it's still, you know, you can sense okay, now it's like a much different vibe, but it's still us all together. We have that unique signature sound that we kind of always had, and kind of decided like, let's take this a different route, kind of like what we did with the Crown Billie Eilish cover. It's totally like left field of what we would normally do. Is like, our normal go-to stuff is like fast, upbeat, and all that kind of craziness. And, you know, for this one, let's just kind of lay it low and give it like this kind of like this heartbeat BPM. And we kind of did that with the Billie Eilish cover, which initially didn't even start off as a, you know, we didn't even know we were going to cover that song. We just wrote the music. And then all of a sudden I had this crazy idea of like, you know, I'm just going to sing this Billie Eilish song over it. And it worked well. And so we kind of had other songs that were kind of like in that vibe already. And so that was like the mashup. And then all of a sudden we threw in this other song that's like very fast upbeat, which is Lone Wolf, which is not even released yet. And then we're, you know, that was one of the songs where we realized like, hey, like this is it, this is our style. And then all the other stuff is like, wait a minute, this is more of like an arena rock, big drums, big guitars, not all that fast. And you get the vocals a little chance to breathe. And, you know, we're very excited to play these live. And of course, like that's where our passion lies, is just a live performance part. And once we're ready to, you know, hash those out at these shows, we'll be ready to, you know, release those coming next year.
Well, shoot, you guys are making me just get excited for 2022 with this band, because I'm excited to see what you guys come out with in terms of this new music and when it comes to live shows as well. Because now you guys are going to be back playing live shows, especially the 2 in December, but then 2022 is going to roll around. Hopefully what happens is, with the plans you guys got going on, when you're doing live shows, it doesn't just stick within Florida or the southeastern part of the United States. No. I'm hoping for the entire United States. Mostly because I want to make it as easy on myself to go and see you guys play live. But if it has to be a little bit of a hard chore to make it happen, you know what? I've been saving some money. I've been trying to start making some money off of this through sponsors. So, yeah, maybe it might happen. All of a sudden, you guys will be playing some new songs. You're going to see this one weird guy in the middle of the crowd going crazy. Like, who the hell is that? Oh, wait. That's just Kevin. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, once the NFTs drop, I mean, you could probably get that, and then you'll have some perks that'll, will keep it updated as well. It's like a lot of it's gonna pertain to, as far as like getting entry to shows, getting, a couple items off the merch stand. Like, you'll have it all set, every show you go to. So, and well, hopefully we'll have a lot of that stuff. And I'm currently working on as well is getting our route to where it, financially makes sense, as well as like getting the content out there so that there's a reason for people out in other states in the US to want to come see us as well.
Well, again, the fact that you're diving into that NFT space, especially more as an early mover, is going to be a gigantic thing in order to really bring more attention to the band, both regionally, nationally, internationally, and from other areas as well, especially from investors that are just going into those NFTs. It's going to open the band to so many different people, open up to live shows so many different people. It's going to be absolutely incredible to see where the band goes, along with the fact that you guys are independent. Like I said earlier, when it comes to working in this NFT space, you guys have more of this freedom ability to move within it and not have to connect with so many other people. It's, you guys want to make that decision, you can make the decision literally probably within 5 minutes, and then bing, bang, boom. Maybe you're going a different direction with one style NFT with a certain sweepstakes. You never know what it is, but you have the ability to do it.
Right.
Which is a very important thing. Well, guys, because we talked about, I think, a lot of the good stuff that we talked about in terms of your decision to go independent with all these different things, a lot of the stuff with the NFTs and with you guys playing live shows and really be able to come out with some of these other grander things. We went through a lot, but I got to say, it's getting me much more excited for Devil's Envy going forward than I was even when you guys reached out to me, because I was like, oh, let's just see what's going on here. Oh, this is interesting. I'm not sure what they're going for, but all of a sudden, once you said NFTs, I was like, okay, now I'm definitely interested to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, I guess now it ties into like why a lot of our imagery has been the way it was the last few days or the last couple weeks, and it's because we're kind of we're not kind of, but definitely going in more that route and diving into the metaverse, moving forward.
Well, just keep it up, guys, because we're gonna see a lot more from you. We're gonna hear a lot more from you, and I've got a feeling that if you guys continue to work on this NFT stuff, and you continue to really work within it, evolve with it, you have a chance to be one of those bands that when people look back at NFTs and they see, okay, in the music scene, who really took charge of this space and really made it their own and really hit a stride with it and really rode it to a level that they wanted to get to with their band, I think you guys have a great chance to be on top of that list.
Let's hope so, man. That's the goal. That's not only the goal, of course. There are other artists, other bigger bands that have talked about it, perhaps maybe last year. Even I know Avenged Sevenfold is grabbing it by the horns right now, and they can, because they're at that top tier where they can easily grab all their fans and take them to that route as well. But now, even like you mentioned, there's people that have been in it since NFT has been a thing since 2018. I read. That's how much I've been reading up on it. I was like, that's crazy. And why am I just hearing about it just earlier this year and finally getting into it like the last 2 months now? And this last week has just been very educational for it as well. So like you said, you can only hope for the best, but also just there's nothing to it but to do it.
Exactly. Just
keep
work.
Sean's mom's back in the room again.
I gotta say, NFTs and social media, it's a great mechanism for reaching people, right? That's like the new way of reaching out to your fans, reaching out to your fan base and engaging with them. But at the end of the day, really what it's all about is music. And if you have a product, which is the music, that makes you feel, that's the most important thing, because that's ultimately why all of us are here talking together. It's because of the music. It's not because of the NFTs, it's because of the music. So as long as you have a core product, which is the music, which is engaging and emotional and unique and different, and makes you want to like, it invoke a feeling from you, right? Whoever you are, that's really the most important thing. The NFTs are great because it's an awesome opportunity for us to take advantage of. But at the end of the day, it's all about the music. It's all about the music and creating something that's badass that you want to.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. That's what frustrates, I think, a lot of people, including me, when you're discussing. I understand it's a business, but it's still art, and that is something that I think people sometimes have a tendency to get sucked into a little bit too much. Is that but you lose track of writing and creating the material that's going to attract the fans, period. And when you lose that and you're focusing solely on everything but the art, you know what? I think you're going to be lost very soon.
Yeah, you gotta evoke that emotional response, right? With the music, whether it's with music or with a piece of artwork, a picture, what have you. It's all about engaging with somebody on an emotional, ethereal level. NFTs are great. It's a cool concept. It's definitely something we can take advantage of. But again, we're not like robots, right? At the end of the day, it's all about the music and creating something that's unique and timeless. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do here with the music.
Yep.
And it's, again, like using the NFTs as a tool to help get to that and create something even more around the band. But the music is going to be at the core of everything. And what Brian said is absolutely paramount when it comes to music. It elicits an emotional response. Art elicits an emotional response. That's why we listen to the bands we listen to. That's why we watch the TV shows and the movies that we like to watch. That's why when it comes to artwork, if like looking at certain pictures, if you have a favorite like painter or designer, whatever it might be, there's a reason why you have that, because it elicits a positive emotional response in you. And we all like different stuff. I mean, you guys are naming, like Paul was naming bands. That's like, yeah, there's certain bands in there that I like more than others, specifically Rush, because my dad was big into Rush. And well, if my dad's big into Rush and he's playing for me when I was a little kid, I'm not going to say no to Rush. So, but there's other bands that I like a lot more. But it all depends upon, how it'll listen to us with emotional response for the positive. And if you guys still are able to bring that at the core of everything and use all these other things as tools to create more around the band, but also, again, still have that great quality music at the core, that's what's going to matter. And that's what's going to really bring people into the band and keep them there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, man. And that was one of the beautiful things about it, because, ultimately that's one of the biggest reasons. That's the biggest reason why, we got together and we remained a band for this long and to be a band to not have all the recognition in the world and to still keep driving. That speaks volumes. That way we already know that we're probably going to outlive a lot of the bands that have just come and gone already. And we've still been around. And so, allowing us to innovate and, like Brian said, like utilizing like whatever, what the best that we can to bring more music to listeners, that's what we're going to go for. And the beauty of it is like now we get to retain more ownership over it. And now instead of think about the amount of money we have spent as bands in general, American, US bands alone. Photo shoots, video shoots, and now, okay, it's online. It garnered a few views. You got a couple $100 royalty checks, and then now what? It's there. It's there, and nothing's done with it unless you mint it. You put it on the blockchain, and then now it's worth something even more. And you grant that to others that want to be a part of it. And now it definitely does put that independence back into our hands and our creative, our creative flow just going, and now we're introducing our music to a whole new level. And so that's what it ultimately is about, is just keeping that passion alive.
I think we have legs as long as we want to have legs, and the reason why is because also we have a different sound, a little bit of a more unique sound, and I think it's really going to come out even more so in the coming months. Stuff's already done and it's recorded, it's ready to roll. We have a little, some few tweaks here and there for a couple of songs, but we're ready to roll. We're just doing it, based on when it's smart to do so. And like I said, we're playing it, and we're not new metal, and that's what I love about it. I love new metal, don't get me wrong, but every band that's coming out these days is new metal. And after a while, it's like, I heard this song, I heard this album, Oh, that's a new band? It's the same fucking band I heard last year, the year before that. And I'll still listen to it, but I'll listen to that I sound old and I am old. I listen to that album. I listen to it maybe 2 or 3 times and I'm like, that's it. I mean, there's fresh ideas out there. I want to hear them. And I do think that that's going to be appealing. It's not just, it won't be generational necessarily either. So that's something, again, that maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Don't really care, but I think we're going to have I think we're going to stick out a little bit.
Well, it seems like from what Paul, what you're saying is like you have this vision though you want to do with the band, and you have the passion behind it. And from what Angel was talking about, along with Brian as well, and you guys have this like path and this idea of how to get there and how to really make this a very unique thing within the music space, especially within rock and metal. So
there's even a personality thing. There's even personalities. There's different personalities, 4 different personalities in this band. And Angel, as an artist, also, I mean, artist, like he's big into comics, and he's I won't say more, but what I'm trying to say is that that's depicted in our stage performance. It's depicted in our photographs. It's depicted in our music. We're 4 different individuals. It's not a one size fits all. And it seems like so many bands that are coming out these days and have been around actually for a little while are so generic, and they look exactly the same too. And I know Brian had touched on that earlier, and that was a frustration also. I didn't get a chance to say that because I talked too much. But I think that overall, man, it's just like, you want me to look like a fucking vampire? No. I'm going to look the way I want to look. And that's exactly how I want to be depicted. It's who I am. And that's, you got a band of 4 dudes. If Brian wants to look like a vampire, Brian, you look like a fucking bloodsucker. I don't give a shit. And that's the way I look at it. But, we are all very, very similar in style anyhow. Sometimes we have to tell Sean to put his pants on. But, aside from that, and leave his kitty cats at home. But aside from that, man, I mean, we're all already, we already kind of blend naturally. Like if we were at a big party, I think us 4 would gravitate towards one another, even if we didn't know each other.
I think that speaks a lot to the chemistry you guys have as a band as well, because if that's going to be the case, where if you guys are all at a party to know each other and you eventually just gravitate towards each other, that just means that there's a natural just chemistry between you, all 4 of you guys, and then it comes out in the music, comes out in the artwork, and it comes out with every single business decision that you make in terms of how this is going to be best for the band specifically, and kind of when it comes to just other ideas, what member of the band kind of that gets delineated to, especially more like the biz side, the NFT stuff. You got Angel for that. And when it comes to really going forward with some more of the press stuff, really promoting this, you got Chanel in your corner as well. When it comes to some of the crazy stuff, I know that's where Sean and Paul really come into play. Just have a good time there. And Brian just with, the crazy insights out of nowhere when it comes to music with the positive illicit response. Just there's so much there, and there's so much chemistry there already. So you guys have built up the base of the kind of like this tower, and you guys have a plan to really build it up to the point where everyone's going to be looking at it and no one can not see it. It just got to, you've got to put it all together now and build up. And that's where 2022 is going to come in. All depends upon how you execute this plan, how you execute the music, and how you go about this. But again, the plan is in place. Execution is now the key.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well said.
I feel like I've been watching way too much Bar Rescue after that one. But that's just me. All right, guys. Well, as we bring this podcast to a wrap, to a close, you guys know one thing I always like to do is give you guys a chance to say whatever you want to say at the end, promote whatever you want to promote, plug whatever you want to plug at the end. So, floor is yours, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having us, dude. Anyone listening out there, you can go ahead and head to devilsenvymusic.com and go ahead and sign up. And we'll be keeping tabs on everyone who wants, either new music. Fill us in, contact us, send us messages, you name it, like whatever you want to hear more of. We're looking forward to relaunching a new set of merch, so keep an eye out on that as well. So it's the same thing, devilsenvymusic.com/merch. And looking forward to seeing all our Florida friends at the Night Stalkers run with Heaven's Void. We'll be hitting Soundbar and Pegasus Lounge, both in Orlando and Tampa. That's December 11th and 12th.
Nice. So now it's time for me to end the podcast with 3 very specific things. So we talked a lot here with Devil's Envy. There's a lot to go off of in terms of you're going to want to make sure you follow them. You want to make sure that you're ready for music. And you want to make sure that when it comes to the NFT stuff, you're a part of this. You're following along with that. You get some merch. You go to these live shows. But instead of having to like search the internet, scour the internet for all this stuff, I'm going to do you one better. Look at the description of the podcast, whether it's the video on YouTube or it's the audio stream on Spotify, Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Amazon. You're going to see something that says Find Devil's Envy online. Links, labels, everything. It's going to be a one-click, one-stop shop for you to find everything from their socials, YouTube, the website, the tickets for those shows on December 11th and December 12th, where you can stream their music, where you can download their music, and, of course, the NFT stuff as well. It will all be there for you, so it's going to be super easy, super well done. Trust me on this. You guys are not going to want to miss it. I'm making it as easy as possible for you not to miss it. Now, number 2. I believe I did this with Sean and Angel the last time I had them on, and now I got to add Paul and Brian into this one because I do want to see you guys perform live. I'm making it happen. It's going to happen at some point. No. It's a when, because when implies that it's going to happen, but time-wise, we just don't know right now. But my promise is when I get to see you guys perform live for the first time, my promise to you is this. First round's on me. And now for Sean and Angel, first 2, because I've had them on twice.
Yeah, first 2.
And Kevin, you get the first kiss from me.
I am honored, sir.
He gives big,
right on the list.
Sloppy bear kisses.
Oh boy. Just like, okay, here we go. We're doing this. All right, guys. Well, once again, thank you for being on the podcast. I can't wait to continue to follow along with you guys. Yes, I'm going to make sure I'm going to follow along so when I get subscribed to that stuff. So all of a sudden, when it comes to the first round of NFTs, I am right there for it. Along with everybody else who's listening, you should be along for that ride too. And as we close this podcast, guys, this is not goodbye. I want to bring you guys back on again later in 2022 so we can go over how the NFT stuff is going, how the band is doing, everything about that. And hopefully I'll be able to talk about seeing you guys live for the first time at that point as well. So until then, guys, this is not goodbye. No. This is see you later.
See you later, man.
Until next time.
Well, folks, that's my interview with Angel, Sean, Paul, and Brian from the band Devil's Envy, along with Chanel, who's doing a lot of their press stuff as well. So I want to thank all 5 for being on the podcast. We got to talk about a lot of incredible things in terms of their plans specifically for the NFT space. There is a lot to go off there. It is a lot of great stuff. You're not going to want to miss out on any of it. So be sure to be a part of that. Be sure to be a part of Devil's Envy and make sure you go see them play live when they're in Florida on December 11th, December 12th of 2021. December 11th is in Orlando. December 12th is in Tampa. And you can check out all their stuff, all their shows, merch, the NFT stuff, follow along with them on social media. All you need to do is take a look at the links in the description of the podcast. It'll say Find Devil's Envy online. It is all there for you. I'm sorry if I'm stumbling through this a little bit tired on the voice, but yeah. You're going to want to go check this out, and you're going to want to be a part of this NFT thing. Gary Vee, this one was for you. Also, thank you to sponsors, Phoenix Fitness and Custom Debuts. The links for them are in the description of the podcast, along with our discount codes for you as well. So be sure to do that. Remember to follow MSOTD Rocks on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. As of January 1st, 2022, they will no longer be MSOTD Rocks pages. They'll just be Chord Progression Podcast pages. And you can follow the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon. All the links in the description. So if you are not subscribed to the podcast, please do. And if you are subscribed to the podcast, thank you. Okay, now I know the video that was like, it did a weird head shake, but I am sincerely grateful if you're, subscribed to the podcast. It is helping me basically do what I love to do in life, which is talk to these bands, talk to these artists, bring them to you, and just have great conversations. This is the thing that really keeps me going at any given moment. If I'm having a bad day, I've got a podcast coming up. I could be having the worst day. All of a sudden, I see him pop up on that Zoom channel. I'm just like, oh, it's fun. So I want to thank Devil's Envy for being back on the podcast. I will see them live in 2022, hopefully, and I will have them back on the podcast 2022 as well, because I can't wait to see what they got going on. On that note, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by MSOTD Rocks, where rock and metal thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of them with a big, healthy, and hearty see ya! Yeah!